Have you ever caught yourself wondering in the middle of the night, or maybe after intimacy, am I lasting long enough? It is a question men carry silently, often for decades without ever speaking it aloud. Some men secretly worry that they are too quick, while others quietly wonder if taking too long is just as much of a problem. But beneath all the doubt lies a simple curiosity. What do women really want in bed? How long is long enough? As a urologist who has spent years counseling men and couples, I can tell you this. The truth is not what most men think. There is no magical stopwatch ticking down the seconds of satisfaction. There is no single number carved in stone. But there is science, there is research, and there is plenty of real world experience that show us what actually matters. And that is what I want to share with you today. We are going to talk about how long you should last to satisfy a woman, what the numbers really say, and more. Importantly, how you can shift the pressure away from timing and toward what truly creates pleasure and intimacy. And I want you to stay with me until the end of this conversation because the most overlooked mistake men make is one that can completely derail satisfaction. Not just theirs, but their partners too. Missing it is the reason so many men feel inadequate, even when they are doing everything by the book. Let us start by shattering one of the most stubborn myths in the bedroom, the idea that great sex is measured purely in minutes. For generations, men have been told often by movies, friends, or even casual locker room talk that endurance is the ultimate proof of masculinity. The message is simple but damaging. The longer you last, the better you are. If you can go half an hour or more, you're a hero. If you finish in just a few minutes, you failed. Many men carry that silent burden, feeling inadequate if their experience doesn't line up with those exaggerated expectations. Some even avoid intimacy altogether because they fear being judged by the clock rather than enjoyed by their partner. But here's the reality. Sex is not a stopwatch contest, and lasting longer does not automatically equal better. Satisfaction for both men and women is far more complex and nuanced. Clinical research gives us a clearer picture. When scientists actually measured the time from penetration to climax, they found that the average for men hovers between 5 and 7 minutes. That's it. Not 30 minutes, not an hour, but less than 10 minutes on average. To some men, that may sound shockingly short, almost like nature played a cruel trick. But in truth, it's simply the biological reality for most healthy men. The human body is designed this way, and it's not a flaw. It's normal. And here's where things get interesting. Women's satisfaction does not follow that same numerical line. Study after study and countless honest conversations I've had with women in my clinic all point to the same truth. It's not about raw duration. A partner who lasts 15 or 20 minutes but is emotionally disconnected, inattentive, or repetitive will not bring more satisfaction than someone who lasts 5 minutes, but makes the experience deeply engaging and intimate. What women consistently value more than duration is attentiveness, variety, and presence. Think about it this way. Many women's bodies are simply wired differently than men's. Arousal often takes longer to build, and it doesn't always come automatically with penetration. A woman might need more time for her body to warm up, for her mind to feel safe and connected, and for her senses to fully awaken. If a man believes the main event is penetration alone, he risks overlooking the very parts of intimacy that fuel her deepest satisfaction. And that's why foreplay is not just a nice extra or an optional appetizer before the so-called real thing. It is the foundation. When you dedicate 10, 15, even 20 minutes to kissing, touching, teasing, and exploring, you're not wasting time. You're priming her body and mind for pleasure. Her heart rate rises, blood flow increases to her most sensitive areas, and her natural lubrication builds. All of these changes prepare her for more intense and enjoyable sensations during penetration. Without that buildup, her experience can feel flat or incomplete, no matter how long the act itself lasts. I have seen this truth confirmed not only in conversations with patients, but also in solid research. One of the clearest examples comes from a study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine. The findings were eye-opening. The couples who reported the highest levels of satisfaction weren't the ones trying to set records with marathon penetration sessions. Instead, they were the couples who created a more complete, layered experience. What mattered was not endurance for its own sake, but balance. The presence of foreplay, attentive intercourse, and even the tenderness that followed. When intimacy is treated as a journey with different chapters, rather than a single race to the finish line, satisfaction naturally increases. The minutes in the middle, while important, simply don't tell the whole story. That said, I understand the desire for concrete numbers. Men often want to know, doctor, just tell me, how long should I last? And science has tried to answer that. Clinical studies measuring something called intravaginal ejaculatory latency time. Essentially, the duration from penetration to climax reveals some very telling patterns. At the lower end of the spectrum, when it lasts only 1 to 2 minutes, Many women report feeling unsatisfied. Their bodies simply don't have enough time to transition from arousal to deeper pleasure, and the experience can feel incomplete, even frustrating. It's not about failure, it's about biology. Most women need a longer window for their nerves, muscles, and blood flow to fully engage. But once you move into the range of about 7 to 13 minutes, satisfaction rates rise dramatically. This seems to be the sweet spot where many women feel their bodies have enough time to respond, their arousal deepens, and their pleasure is maximized. In that window, there is room for variety, changes in rhythm, position, and depth. And that variety makes the experience richer for both partners. It's not just about the clock ticking, it's about how those minutes are used. Interestingly, more does not always mean better. When intercourse stretches well beyond 20 minutes, fatigue and discomfort often creep in. Many women report that it starts to feel dragged out, even mechanical, rather than intensely pleasurable. The body is not designed for endless penetration without pause. Lubrication may fade, sensitivity can dull, and what was once exciting can turn into strain. In other words, the focus should not be on pushing the limits of duration, but on finding the range where connection and pleasure are strongest. So, if you want a ballpark figure, aim for somewhere between 7 and 15 minutes of intercourse. That range, combined with plenty of foreplay and emotional connection, satisfies the majority of women. The idea that men need to last 30 minutes or more is largely a myth. What matters more is how you use the time you have. Now, let us address a hidden enemy: performance pressure. This single factor ruins more intimate experiences than most men realize. And it's where so many sabotage themselves without even meaning to. You know the feeling. Instead of being fully present, your mind starts racing. Thoughts creep in like, am I lasting long enough? Am I doing it right? Is she satisfied? What if I finish too quickly? The moment those questions take over, your body is no longer in the flow of pleasure. It's in the grip of anxiety, and anxiety has a very specific effect on the body. Blood vessels constrict, your muscles tighten, and your nervous system switches into fight or flight mode rather than rest and arouse. The cruel irony is that this very tension accelerates climax. You worry about finishing too fast, and that worry makes it happen even faster. It becomes a vicious cycle that repeats itself until confidence is chipped away. And it's not just you who feels it. Women sense this tension more than most men imagine. They can tell when you're distracted, when your energy is not fully with them, when your movements are rushed or mechanical because you're lost in your head. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone who keeps checking their phone. You might be physically there, but emotionally, you're not truly present. When performance pressure hijacks the moment, women don't feel deeply desired. They feel like they're part of a test you're trying to pass. That kind of energy makes intimacy shallow and unfulfilling. The truth is that what women crave most is presence. They want to feel your attention, your focus, and your genuine desire. They want to know that you're not just trying to perform for them, but that you are with them, fully engaged in the shared moment. When you replace those anxious questions with curiosity and appreciation, noticing her reactions, listening to her breath, exploring her body with intention, everything changes. She feels seen, valued, and cherished, which is far more powerful than a stopwatch ever could be. Here's the paradox. The very thing you've been worried about lasting longer often improves the moment you stop obsessing over it. When you shift your focus away from how many minutes you're going and toward how much pleasure you're both experiencing, your nervous
System relaxes. Your body stops rushing. You stop tensing up. That relaxation delays climax naturally because your body is no longer on high alert. Instead of racing toward the finish line, you find yourself moving in rhythm, savoring each moment, letting desire unfold at its own pace. This mindset shift is not just psychological, it's physiological. Anxiety triggers adrenaline, which speeds things up. Relaxation triggers oxytocin and dopamine, the chemicals of bonding and pleasure, which slow things down and deepen connection. In other words, by choosing presence over pressure, you're literally rewiring the chemistry of the moment in your favor. So, what can you do if you truly want to extend your time and create an experience that feels richer for both of you? The first step is learning to slow everything down. Think of intimacy less like a sprint to the finish line and more like a slow, intricate dance. Every move doesn't need to rush forward. It can pause, sway, change direction, and return again. When you sense yourself getting too close too soon, that is your body's signal to adjust the rhythm. Shift the pace, pull back slightly, or redirect your focus to her body. Explore her with your hands, your mouth, your words. This not only diffuses your own urgency, but also heightens her arousal, creating a more balanced exchange of pleasure. Breathing is another powerful tool that most men underestimate. Many men fall into shallow, quick breaths when they're excited, which accelerates climax. But when you consciously slow your breathing, inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly, almost like you're meditating in the middle of passion, you calm your nervous system. Your heart rate steadies, tension melts, and the sensation of needing to finish begins to lose its grip. This breathing technique combined with pacing gives you a kind of natural control that feels effortless rather than forced. Another area many men overlook is the pelvic floor. Strengthening those muscles through simple exercises, often called Kegel, can dramatically increase both your staying power and the firmness of your erections. It's like building a reserve of control. When practiced regularly, these exercises let you feel when you're on the edge and pull back without losing the energy of the moment. Over time, this not only helps you last longer, but also improves overall circulation and sensitivity in your pelvic region. And let's not forget the role of variety. Too many men fall into predictable patterns, the same pace, the same position, the same approach. But your body responds differently when you mix things up, and so does hers. Change positions, shift your rhythm, take brief pauses to focus completely on her pleasure, or even break for a kiss and playful touch before continuing. This turns intimacy into something layered, textured, and alive rather than one straight line leading to climax. But here's where so many men miss the bigger picture. Intimacy is not just about intercourse. The moments before and after matter just as much, if not more. Foreplay is not simply a warm up, it is the foundation. It builds anticipation, ignites arousal, and helps her body prepare to receive you fully. 10, 15, even 20 minutes spent kissing, touching, whispering, and exploring creates a bond that makes the eventual act far more satisfying. An afterplay. Yes, what happens after climax is equally powerful. Holding her, stroking her hair, whispering compliments, or simply staying close tells her that she is valued beyond the act itself. For women, satisfaction is rarely measured only in physical release. It is tied to how connected they feel, how cared for they feel, and whether they walk away from the experience feeling cherished. A gentle word, a lingering touch, even the way you look at her in those quiet minutes afterward can magnify her fulfillment far more than lasting an extra 5 minutes ever could. When she feels emotionally nourished during and after, intimacy transforms into something unforgettable. It becomes a memory, not just a moment. And that at the end of the day is the real measure of great sex. Not the clock, but the connection. So, how long should you last to satisfy a woman? The science gives us a guideline about 7 to 15 minutes of intercourse, supported by foreplay and connection. But the deeper truth is that satisfaction is not measured in minutes at all. It is measured in presence, in confidence, in variety, and in connection. Women do not want a partner who can last forever, but feels distant. They want someone who makes them feel alive, desired, and cherished. If you walk away with one lesson today, let it be this. Do not obsess over the clock. Obsess over her. When you are present, when you slow down, when you create a
Rhythm that includes her whole body and mind, you will not only satisfy her, you will strengthen the bond between you and rediscover your own confidence.